ahead. You can let go.
I can.
Me.
Of course I can let go. Of course.
You know, it's Batman. Of course not.
Oh, please.
No, I'm feeling a bit.
I think I need an attack right now.
No.
Go on, what's your page? What's your page?
Page is 213.
Okay, I'm going to go fact number 4.
Number
213. It's the only number not left.
2/3 of all the poetry sold in the UK by living poets is by Seamus Heaney.
Wow.
I've never heard of Seamus Heaney, but I'm going to have to look him up.
This guy was probably in our English literature exams.
I think I would have remembered the name. A lot of that was dead poets.
Yeah, you're right. But then there were live ones in there. There were
couple.
different parts. It was old and new, modern and age. So I think maybe he was probably in there somewhere. I just don't remember the name. This guy has a monopoly.
This guy is killing it.
I don't know if he's good or he's just really, really persistent.
Is he just flooding the market?
He's just saying everything ever all at once. And it's like, well, he actually contributes the most. Whether it's successful or not, I don't know. He might be super successful. I'm oblivious to it. Hey, NarendraTheComic!
NONSENSEI!
Yes, and right now we've got something to say. We were wrong about one thing last week when we talked about fixing the MCU. Our viewpoint at that point was the MCU is dying. Now, I believe the case is it's almost dead.
I think it's a carcass, boys.
And it's going to take a lot to resuscitate it because these Ant-Man and the Wasp numbers, okay, are far worse than either of us assumed they would be.
Yeah.
It seems like you're going to be more correct than me, and I'm going to be wrong by a very big margin, but wow, this film has dropped off a cliff.
Yeah, it literally, if this was where it was at, it just boop, boop, right the way down.
I didn't know she made those noises.
It hit the bottom, it went splat, and now everyone is talking about how bad this film is.
This film has been squashed like a bug at the box office. That's what's happened because it has actually had the biggest weekend to weekend drop, first weekend to second weekend drop of any MCU movie ever.
In history.
It's hit over 70% drop, a decline of 70%, a retention of less than 30% of box office.
The thing is, when you think about that, you would expect that in a phase 1, where people aren't really tuned in to comic book films.
Yeah.
They think they're a bit campy.
They aren't aware.
Right? It's not got the drive that was pushing the MCU forward. Mm-hmm. This is the beginning of phase 5, after a couple of the most successful films in the world with the Avengers.
Yep.
And this is what has happened. And if this isn't, you put your finger on the pulse and you read what's going on from Disney, from Kevin Feige, I don't know what it's going to be.
I don't, because the general consensus was this wasn't a good film from the critics, who obviously are not always right, but also from the fans, it's been very, very hit and miss. It's not been a overwhelming success in terms of the fan reception to this movie either, because there was a lot of silly, stupid shit in it. But when you look at the money side of things and you're saying, well, it made about 105 million opening weekend, second weekend it's making about 31, 32. Now, this weekend, there's a problem because Creed 3's coming out.
Yeah.
And that film is probably going to make anywhere from $30 to $40 million at the box office opening weekend. Because of that, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, I would believe, is looking at less than 20 million for its third week. Which makes me think its overall domestic run is in the ballpark of 250 to 270 million on the upper end at this moment in time. That's not good.
So, is it going to hit 500 million worldwide?
I think it has a good chance of hitting 500, but it's going to be tough to hit 550.
And that's its break-even point.
Its break-even at this moment in time looks like 525, based on the stuff I know about how the industry works. Now, the break-even might be slightly less than that, maybe slightly more, but if you say between 500 and 550, I think we're definitely sure it needs 500 to break even, and it might be up to 550. It's just very shocking to see how quickly the biggest franchise in the world in terms of media and entertainment can crumble.
The sad thing is, when you think about the MCU from a couple of years ago, everything they touched turned to gold. People were coming to the parks, people were buying the merchandise, people were buying bedding for their kids and the toys, and they were buying Halloween costumes. That's just not happening anymore. I'm seeing the memification of Kang.
I am. You're right. You're absolutely right. But I think it's actually got to the point where it's so saturated in the market, and not in terms of it being comic book fatigue or anything like that, but you see 55-year-old people who, from the look of them, they are not comic book people. For some reason, I don't think you read comics or you like these movies. You've just bought this t-shirt from like a cheap store and it says Marvel Comics, or it says Iron Man on it. That's a different type of market saturation, that it's so bled into the culture that it almost loses some relevancy. It's very odd. Star Wars has it. Star Wars had that same thing in the 2010s to 2015 before they made the sequels, which was, how much do people care about this? And I think at the beginning, it had this incredible wave of euphoria. And by the time 2017 came around, I think that had come off already. And then when the movie was bad, The Last Jedi, it fell away. And I think with the MCU, it's done a similar thing here, where it's got so famous that it's memed itself in a lot of ways. The stories have become lackluster, and most people are aware of it, but don't truly care about it.
I would never have seen this happening, but the writing has been on the wall for a while, and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is just the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
This drop-off, they're going to have to restructure the way they do things.
I mean, we talked about something last year when the box office returns for the MCU seemed to be coming down and down and down, which was around the idea of box office decreasing for the MCU, but not in the way that most people assumed it was. Because a lot of people said, oh, the normies are not going to see these movies anymore, and the hardcore fans are. And I said a year ago, no, they've got that wrong. The hardcore fans, the people who buy the comics, bought the merchandise, the toys, the video games, those are the ones who are not going to see the movies. And as of now, the normies have. We know that because our cousins and us used to go to every single MCU movie all the time, every year. From 2012 through to 2019, the only MCU movie I didn't see in cinemas was Captain Marvel. After that, that is not the case. The Eternals, no. Shang-Chi, no. Thor: Love and Thunder, no. How does this work? How does this work where you're saying these films are not drawing the people who give them the most revenue, the repeat business, to the cinemas anymore? But I think Ant-Man and the Wasp was the film where the normies haven't showed up.
The general public doesn't want it anymore.
No.
And that is the end.
We'll do what we can. We'll do what we can to fix the MCU, but I don't know how much resuscitation this one needs, how many shocks to the system it needs to become viable again, because I believe possibly, quite potentially, it's hobbling around on one leg. And at that point, it's not even hobbling.
It's hopping.
It's clawing its way around. That's what's happening. It's not nice to see, to be honest, considering the highs it had, but hey, that's life. Anyway, guys, if you did enjoy this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel down there if you didn't. Thanos himself, a real villain, gonna come after you. You don't want that? No. Do they want that? No, so just subscribe anyway to avoid that. I've been NarendraTheComic.
I've been NONSENSEI.
She's been NONSENSEI. You've been Grant. We'll see you next time. That's tomorrow. If you don't know, make a video every single day. Been doing it every day for over 1,500 days now, and we're stopping until we get to 10,000 subscribers. So do subscribe. Pop back again tomorrow for some more quality shitty content. So hashtag never not here. Just how it goes. Also bring the podcast means nonsense in Punjabi. We also bring a lot, bring a little, do a lot, but we do indeed bring the quality shitty content on a daily basis. So see you tomorrow, more of the same, slightly different, but essentially the very same. Once more, see you then. Skadoosh.